What if I told you that Rockstar Games, the same studio behind GTA and Red Dead Redemption, released a game so different and ambitious, like genuinely unlike anything else on the market, that most people just didn't know what to do with it? A game where instead of causing chaos, you had to use your brain, where the most powerful weapon you had wasn't a gun, it was your ability to read a person's face and catch them in a lie. A game that used technology so advanced, Hollywood actors were lining up to be a part of it, and yet it's almost completely forgotten today. That game is LA Noire, and today we're going to talk about why it was one of the most important games ever made and why almost nobody remembers it. Enjoy. Firstly, let's take a quick look at what this game is actually about, because if you've never played it, the setup alone is worth knowing. LA Noire drops you in 1947 Los Angeles. The war is over and the city is booming. And don't forget, jazz is on the radio and the streets are soaked in the classic film noir atmosphere. Beautiful on the surface, but rotten underneath. You play as Cole Phillips.
Your wife was brutally beaten with a socket wrench handle, then stomped to death. How do you think that looks, Jacob?
War hero and an LAPD officer, a man haunted by what he did overseas, trying to bury his past by doing good in the present. Starting out on the beat, Cole rises quickly through the ranks. Traffic, homicide, vice, then arson. Each desk brings darker cases, deeper corruption, and a city that doesn't want its secrets uncovered. The cases you investigate are raw. Crime scenes ripped straight from real 1940s headlines. Murders, cover-ups, conspiracies that go all the way to the top. But there's the thing. Cole isn't just a cop who shoots his way to the truth. He's a detective, and that distinction is everything. But what made this game truly special was how it actually played. Most open-world games give you a gun and a mission marker. LA Noire gave you a notepad and a crime scene. You had to earn the answers. You'd crash down to examine clues and pick up evidence in order to piece together what actually happened. No hand-holding, no press X to solve the murder. The game trusted you to think. And then came the interrogations. This is where LA Noire did something no game had done before, or has really done since. After gathering your evidence, you'd sit across from a witness or a suspect and question them. And there's the twist. You had to decide if they were telling the truth.
Let's talk about the shooting. Do you deny shooting Everett Gage?
I'm a businessman. I run a jewelry store. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure my lawyer can clear all this up.
You deny owning a Browning pistol, serial number 01138.
I owned a gun, yes, but it was stolen in a burglary a couple years ago. You can't prove I used my gun on Gage.
You could push them with evidence, you could call them a liar to their face, or you could back off and let them talk. Every choice changed how the conversation went, and the wrong read would cost you the whole case. In my opinion, this system was years ahead of its time. It forced you to actually pay attention, to engage with the story, to care about the outcome, and that's very rare.
He's been trying to ruin my business for years.
Edgar Kalu, I'm charging you with the first-degree murder of Everett Gage. I respect your beliefs and your right to hold them. I hope for your sake, the jury can commute to murder in the second degree. May God have mercy on you, sir.
The reason the interrogations actually worked, the faces. What's interesting here is the technology Rockstar used, called motion scan. Instead of motion capture with dots on the face, they surrounded actors with 32 cameras shooting simultaneously, capturing every micro-expression in perfect detail. The result was something genuinely unsettling, in the best way. You could watch a character's eyes flicker, see a nervous twitch in the jaw, catch that split second of panic before they recovered their composure. It was the closest any game had ever come to actually making you feel like you were reading a real person. And dropping all of this together was 1940s Los Angeles, recreated painstaking detail. The cars, the fashion, the music, the architecture. Walking through those streets felt like stepping into a black and white film. LA Noire was an experience, and it proved that games could be something more, that they could be slow, methodical, mature, and still be absolutely compelling. So this begs the question, why did it actually fail? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. LA Noire didn't become GTA, it didn't become Red Dead, and despite everything it did right, it's faded from the conversation embarrassingly fast. A huge part of the issue was the Rockstar brand. When people saw that logo, they expected chaos, car chases, shootouts, mayhem. LA Noire offered a slow interrogation and police procedure. That's not a flaw in the game, that's a mismatch between the product and its audience. Rockstar's marketing machine pointed their biggest guns at a game that was fundamentally quiet and cerebral. The people who showed up weren't the right crowd, and the people who would have loved it didn't know it existed. And honestly, the pacing was a real issue too. LA Noire asked for patience in an era of instant gratification. Long dialogue scenes, slow car rides, interrogations that could feel repetitive if the system didn't click for you. For players raised on GTA, this felt like homework, and for a lot of people, they bounced off it before it ever had the chance to pull them in. And another problem was the repetition. The case structure, while brilliant in design, also started to show its seams after a while. Find clues, interrogate suspect and arrest someone, then repeat. Without enough variation in the interrogation outcomes, it could start to feel formulaic. The game's emotional gut punch of a finale was masterful, but you had to survive several hours of mechanical repetition to get there, and not everyone made it.
Jump, Cole! Jump for it!
We're gathered here to honor Detective Cole Phelps. Cole Phelps was the best kind of man. Hear, hear. A war hero who led his men with true valor. And through his personal bravery achieved one of his country's highest honors.
There's also the backstory of how the game was made. Years of turbulent development at Team Bondi, the studio behind it. Reports of crunch, internal conflicts, and friction with Rockstar all contributed to a studio that dissolved shortly after release. The game shipped, but the team that made it didn't survive, and that story cast a shadow over the whole project. In the end, here's what I keep coming back to with LA Noire. It was a game that dared to be different in an industry that rewards familiarity. It asked players to think instead of react, to watch instead of shoot, to feel the weight of justice and the ugliness of the world it operates in. It wasn't perfect, no ambitious game is, but it took risks that most studios wouldn't dream of touching, and it delivered an experience that's genuinely impossible to find anywhere else. When you replay LA Noire today, it hits different. You notice the crafts, the detail, the sheer audacity of building something this unusual under the Rockstar umbrella. It deserved more. It deserved a sequel. It deserved an audience that was ready for it. Maybe the industry just wasn't ready for what LA Noire was trying to be. Maybe we still aren't. But one thing's for certain, if you haven't played it yet, you owe it to yourself to fix that. Because some games age well, and some games become more relevant with time. LA Noire is both. Thank you, and see you in the next one.